want to talk about when you make several purchases of some plant assets or some assets that need to be depreciated at one particular time. And we always know that we record our assets on the books at cost, at whatever the price is that we've paid for it. But problems come in sometimes where you make one purchase price for several assets. And so, for example, in that particular situation, it becomes difficult for you to be able to itemize how much you pay for each individual asset. And so there's a particular method that we use that's pretty easy, which we consider appropriate for us to be able to identify the cost of each in particular asset when we make a lump sum purchase. Sometimes this is also known as a basket purchase. And therefore, this particular method is called lump sum purchase or basket purchase method. Okay? So let's suppose that we've bought, let's suppose that we paid $2 million for the following assets. Suppose that we paid $2 million for the following assets. Suppose we bought some land, some furniture, we bought equipment, and we bought a building. And so we're going to collectively record all of these assets at a total cost of $2 million. But remember, we have to record each individual asset on the books. And therefore, we have fallen into a difficulty of trying to figure out, well, how much of this $2 million is going to land? How much of the $2 million is going to furniture, equipment, building, etc.? And so what we must do is we must find out the market value of all of these particular assets. For your practical purpose, the market value will be given. Market value, fair value. Sometimes you see the words fair market value or market value. Basically, it's similar. It's just saying that what the market feels the value of this asset should be. Okay? And so let's assume that, let's say the fair market value of land is $500,000. Fair market value of furniture is $50,000. Fair market value of the equipment is, let's say, $800,000. And the fair market value of the building is $1 million. Okay? And so this is based on what the market feels the value of each one of these assets are. Okay? So one thing you might want to note is that the total fair market value of this asset combined exceeds the value of what we paid for it, which is a good thing because practically speaking, we paid less for what the market feels that it's worth. So we up, right? But that may become a problem in terms of accounting. Because if we reported each one of these assets on the books at its fair market value, it would exceed the cost of what we paid for, which would contradict the rule of putting our assets on the books at cost. So let's look at the total fair market value of this basket purchase. So we have, let's see, 1 million plus, that's what, 1.8 million. Plus another 5, that's 2.3 million plus 50,000. So we have 2.3 million, 50,000, right? So 2,350,000. So it exceeds by roughly 350,000. And so what we're going to do is we're going to find the percent relative to this total fair market value. The total fair market value. So of this total fair market value, the 2.35, which asset has the most invested in that, should I say? Obviously the building. The building is at a cool $1 million. Okay, so the building is going to absorb the highest percentage of this total fair market value. Which one has the least? Obviously the furniture. So the furniture is going to have the least. So how are we going to calculate those percentages? Very simple. Calculate the percentages. You take the fair market value of the individual asset and you divide it into the total. So we take the $500,000 for the land, divide it into the total of the 3.5 mil, 2.35 mil, sorry, and that will give us a percentage. Okay? For the furniture, again, we would take the $50,000 and divide it into 2,350,000. For the equipment, we would take the fair market value of the equipment of $800,000. And we're going to divide it into the total 2,350,000. And lastly, for the building, we're going to take that million and divide it into 2,350,000. That's going to give us the percentage relative to the total fair market value for each individual asset. So, pull out my calculator. 500,000 divided by 2,350,000 gives us, and I'm going to just round, I guess I'm going to just round 2 decimal points over. So I'm going to say that's 21%. Okay. Then the furniture, 50,000 divided into 2. That'll give us roughly 2%. We're going to take the equipment, 800,000, I'm sorry, divided into 2,350,000. That's going to give us 34%. And I'm going to take the 1 million and divide that into the 2,350,000. That's going to give us really 42%. But remember, if we add all these percentages up, it has to equal 100%. So I'm going to round it up to 43. Okay? Percent. And I'm going to double check to make sure that all this equals 100, right? So we have 21 plus 2 plus 34 plus 43, and that gives us the 100%. So that's exactly where we want to be. Okay? Last but not least, we're going to take these percentages that we calculate and multiply them times the initial total purchase price, and that's going to tell us the amount which we need to record on the books for each individual asset. So for land has a percentage of 21%. So we're going to multiply that times the 2 million. Furniture has a percentage of 2%. We're going to multiply that times the 2 million. Equipment has a percentage amount of 34%. We're going to multiply that times 2 million. And lastly, the building has an amount of 43%, which we're going to multiply that times 2 million. And again, This will give us the total amount in which we're going to debit each in particular asset. Each particular asset. Okay? So if the 21% times 2 million, %21 times 2 million, %21 times the 2 million, I'm sorry. This calculator is acting crazy. 2 million times 0.21, 420,000. We have 2 million times 0.2%, 40,000. We have 2 million times 0.34%, 680,000. We have 2 million times 0.43%, 860,000. And this would be your final answer for each particular asset. And if we added all that back up, we should get to what? 2 million, right? So 420 plus 40 plus 680 plus 860 gives us the 2 million. So this is also called a basket purchase or a lump sum purchase.